Hi again. So moving on to video 2, in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw the style lines or the design lines. So these lines here that you can see between these panels, and then break the shape up. Let's go back here. I'm going to give you two ways of breaking this shape up. The first way will be to use what we call the Pathfinder Panel, which if I come into my window, I come down here and I go to Pathfinder. And here I'm going to use Divide. And then I'm going to talk you through another tool called Shape Builder. Let's first of all start with drawing our basic design lines. Let's start. So to draw the design lines, what I'm going to do is use the pen tool. Very important is to make sure that you keep all design lines outside of the shape that you're doing. Once again, we want to make sure that there is no fill in that line, and for the sake of being quite clear, again I'm going to put a color into the stroke line. So here I am with the pen tool. I'm going to put my toe cap line in, so I'll start outside of the shape and come to about there, click and drag, and then come outside the shape over here. Can you see how my pen tool is still attached because I've done an open line? So if I were to move away, you can see the preview of the pen tool. So to get out of that, you can either go and click on the selection tool over here, or quite simply use the keyboard shortcut V to get out of that. And by clicking onto the line, you can move that up or down depending where you want that toe cap to be. From here, I'm going to draw my counter. So I come back to my pen tool. Once again, I start outside the line. I come into the shape and drag, and then come down and go outside the shape to get my counter shape. Keyboard shortcut V to get out of that. If at any point you want to move any of the lines around, I've gone to my direct selection. We can move that line back. We can move this line back. So each time I'm clicking onto an anchor point to move back, and then I click into a blank space to deselect. Finally, what I'm going to do is create the quarter. To do this, I'm going to draw my shape in over here. Let's just have a quick peep at what we did with our shapes. That's going in there and around. So of course you'll do this all according to your own design. I'm just doing a very simple and basic design. I may not get exactly the same look as I've got on my example, but it will be close enough. So pen tool, click on the outside, click inside the shape, and now what I'm going to do is start shaping so that I can draw my quarter. Back to my selection tool, or V to get out of there, direct selection tool, or A to come in and do a little bit of shaping. V and deselect. So now I'm actually ready to turn this into my different shapes. I feel that I need to do a little bit of fiddling over here just to bring that right again and let go. So all along you can do a little bit of shaping, a little bit of fiddling just to get the shapes right. What I find is very important is to always have a copy of your basic shape. In fact, you can even keep a copy in your symbol library. Where this little club is the symbol library. I'm going to drag that in there and just call it men's round toe and go OK. So there we go. I've dragged it into my symbols. I'm going to close my symbols, and you'll see actually what's happened once I've done that is that there's a little cross there, which means it's turned my image that I'm working on into a symbol. And before I can carry on, I will need to break that symbol and deselect. Now I'm going to make a copy of that. I am going to copy it to the back. Edit, copy, edit, paste in back. And I'd like to actually move this back copy out of the way. So what I will do is go to my keyboard increments. I'm also going to use the keyboard shortcut, which is Command or Control K. and make my keyboard increment over here 10 millimeters and go OK, and using my arrows I'm going to move that out the way. I'm also going to make a copy of my lines just so that I can demonstrate both ways of cutting this shape up. You need to be sure that lines are outside the shape and you've selected absolutely everything. These shapes, these lines cannot have any fill in them, otherwise you'll be cutting that shape into pieces with the fill, and I will give you a little example in a moment. Let me close my symbol. I come to my divide tool, and what I need to now do is right click and ungroup, and there we have all of our pieces. I'm just going to make a copy of that shoe so that I've got my untouched copy always waiting to be used, and I will show you a couple of issues over here. If, for example, I had a fill, and I'll put a yellow fill in so it's not that noticeable in those lines, and I selected everything and divided, can you see how it's divided where the fill came? So now what I will do is show you with a color in the fill just so that you can understand. I'm holding Shift to deselect the back. I'm going to change the color to blue, and I'm going to show you what happens when I divide. So do you see how it just divides along the fill color as well? So Command Z to undo. I'm going to remove the fill, and now I'm going to talk you through another tool that I like to use. I use it quite a lot because it's a very quick tool to use. I'll select everything over here. In my toolbox, there's a tool called the Shape Builder. Keyboard shortcut for that is Shift M. So if I move away and I go Shift M, that opens up the Shape Builder. Do you see how it shades each area? And the reason why it's doing this is because I've got the line dividing each area. What I like to do when I use this tool is to actually put a color in there, and then I come back here, so it's shading it. I've got a blue in the fill, you can see that there, and I click onto the middle area, and what you can see is it changes the color. If I want to delete lines in Shape Builder, I press the Alt key and click onto the overhanging lines. Back to Selection or the keyboard shortcut V. There you have each section of the shoe broken up. So either way is good. I just thought I'd show you both of those ways so that you can work with that and choose what suits you best. I'll let you have a go at that on your own now.